Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel. I'm Shogun, and this is talking about developer notes and changes. And your boy Tywin is getting some changes, but people are still going to call him trash. It doesn't matter. But I'm not going to go over all of this stuff up here at the top. We're going to go over who is getting balance adjustments and who is getting some AI improvements, as well as equipment. It's actually pretty interesting that they're changing the equipment along with the characters that have the equipment. So Moonlight, we're going to get ambitious Tywin. They're changing Charlotte again. Interesting choice to pick here. Destina's getting a balance adjustment as well as an AI improvement. You're also going to have Lilbet, Tempest and Crescent Moon Rin, SS Acades, Specimen says Crow, Pavel, Fighter Maya, Assassin Sid, Wanderer Silk, Acades, Batiste, and Celeste are all getting some AI improvements as well. But right at the top is going to be ambitious Tywin. And I saw this coming, right? Everybody saw this coming. Everybody has complained about ambitious Tywin, saying he's trash. I use him regularly in high champ legend RTA. I actually think that he's really good. But they did fix the one thing that I had a gripe with, and that was they made it so that he has up to 100% chance to dispel one debuff from all allies when an ally is debuffed after the caster is attacked. Now, this doesn't really help with, like, it doesn't increase the amount of debuffs that he's going to be doing, doesn't give him anything else. This does negate the 15% though, because there was nothing more heartbreaking than seeing a Basar S3 into your team, and what happens? He resists, and that means that everybody is just debuffed and he is not, and he just sits there, he's like, I did good, right? I did great. And you're like, no man, you did not at all. So they did get rid of that. That's pretty nice. I mean, it still can be kind of abused in RTA. You just put other debuffs on before you put the debuffs that you want on, but it does definitely help out quite a bit, especially if you're going up against any sort of like cleave teams. This will help against you know, you can use him against dizzy teams. Granted, he's not going to be negating more debuffs than she can put on, because she can put on a ton of debuffs, but regardless, it's still pretty good. Now, Flash, I have some concerns about this one. So they did make it so Flash attacks all enemies with instant sword storm with 65 to 80% chance each to stun for 1 turn and decrease speed for 2 turns. Now, this used to also make them unhealable for 2 turns. Now, honestly, I liked the unhealable. Replacing it for a stun is actually not the worst, because, I mean, you can just stun them, right? Now, the problem with that becomes that a lot of times you're not stunning their healer, you're not stunning their support, because they're going to be high on effect resist. If you could make the other targets unhealable, however, and they didn't have some sort of cleanse, this took their support out of the mix. So now you almost have to run effectiveness on him if you want to try to make sure that this lands on their support as well. So I would have preferred if they would have kept the unhealable and just added stun. Honestly, I thought that his S3 was perfectly fine. They could have made it do a little bit more damage, or made him like CR push, because I mean, it's Flash, you know, and he would have just been a lot faster. Maybe it increases his speed, I don't know. But let's hear what they have to say. First, we would like to thank the community for providing their valuable feedback regarding ambitious Tywin. He was designed to be a hero that could immediately respond to being debuffed and assist his allies, but it was confirmed that his key passive ability, Battle Command, was difficult to activate due to the condition that it would only activate when he had been debuffed. That's another good point there too, as well, is that he doesn't have to be debuffed now. So if you hit him and anybody else is debuffed on his turn, it's going to cleanse those as well. So that's actually pretty solid. So if you're getting hit by an AoE, you're going to be cleansing debuffs even if you don't have debuffs on you. That was a big thing as well. With this upcoming balance adjustment, the conditions for activating Battle Command have been expended. Okay, all right, blah, blah, blah. Players don't feel burdened by using equipment that intentionally lowers ambitious Tywin's effect resist, and we hope that this allows him to play a more active, well-rounded role in battle. I do definitely like it. Additionally, for his skill Flash, the 2-turn unhealable debuff has been replaced with a 1-turn stun debuff after being awakened, allowing for ambitious Tywin to serve in a support position in many different situations. So again, I liked the unhealable a bit more. Just a personal preference, I guess. We'll see how it goes. I definitely think he's better. I still think that a lot of people are going to call him garbage because they don't know how to build him. All right, so, and I'm going to make mine a bit more zoomy. That's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so next up is going to be Charlotte, and this is going to be yet another change to Charlotte. So with dual swords, they're adding this changed attack always triggers a critical hit when it hits. This means that a lot of these things that they're making on her, you don't need to build crit chance on her, because basically attacks with the dual swords with the 50% chance to decrease attack for 1 turn. When the caster is debuffed, dual swords becomes an attack that targets all enemies when used on the caster's turn. This changed attack always... Okay, so as long as it is the debuffed version that attacks all enemies, it's going to crit 100% of the time. Yeah, that's the way it makes it sound. Okay, so Vortex cuts all enemies while spinning, making them unhealable for 2 turns. Okay, so they took and just made it 100% chance to make them unhealable. Fantastic. Not only that, but a successful attack always results in a critical hit. Cool. Okay, so they just buffed the unhealable chance to 100%, which is good. So that's not bad. Since Charlotte's remake, which occurred in the first week of March, many of our heirs have expressed their valued opinions about her changes. Charlotte was able to attack all enemies by granting buffs to herself with her... Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, when a caster's buffed. When the caster is buffed. Okay. Not debuffed. But many of our heirs expressed a better valued opinion or changes to Charlotte's attack all enemy when buffed to herself with her skill Will of Swamp. However, due to the inconsistency with her first and third skill concept, she had a high equipment requirement. That's not always a bad thing. Not always a bad thing. Hold on one second. Let me start that up. I got to farm as well. Now that dual swords can also grant a critical hit, instead of focusing on increasing critical hit chance, players can choose to equip the increases attack or critical hit damage for a more aggressive build, or prepare for longer battles by investing in more defensive oriented builds. Okay, additionally, Charlotte's skill Vortex now has increased probability of inflicting the debuff unhealable. We hope that these will make her more powerful so she can be used in many different combinations. Doubt. Okay, so regen on Destina. This is going to just base increase her combat readiness, their combat readiness by 50%. That's huge, because this basically just takes away this exclusive equipment and just rolls it right into regen. And now the exclusive equipment that was doing that before now has a 30% chance to reset the cooldown of regen when using regen. So you have a 30% chance to just double up on this. That's actually pretty solid. I still think that most people are going to use the S1, the debuff removal on the S1 with a counter set. Seems to be the more overall beneficial version, but now you just like base... Hey, just go 50% faster instead of 30% faster. It's really huge, actually. So Destina is a Soul Weaver who can turn the tide of battle against enemies that inflict debuffs. However, the long cooldown time on her skills and her speed make it difficult to use her properly. I disagree. Although some improvements were made to her usability through her exclusive equipment, she was still far behind in performance considering the importance of each turn in a battle. So compared to other Soul Weavers, she was not as versatile in other content. With this update, the combat readiness increase, which was previously enhanced via her exclusive equipment, will be incorporated into her base skill, and her exclusive equipment will be changed so that it now provides the probability of resetting the cooldown for her skill regen. The increase of the base effective regen will help improve Destina's impact in battle, and the changes to her exclusive equipment will allow her to create a more favorable situation for arena battles. Now, the thing is, though, with 30%, is if you are relying on that, that is another RNG factor, and I hate that. Okay, little bet. So they just rolled her 20% chance into her S3, and now she has the increases damage by 10% on that equipment. I do like that they just rolled it right in there. I do feel that it was kind of meh that they had that on there. That you had to use the equipment, but it was super key. It just added the straight up skill nullifier, or not skill nullifier, oath key right to her skill. So that's actually a pretty good change. So now you can just do the 10% damage for even more damage build. Yeah, we're just basically, they just added that in there to do more damage. Okay, so Tempest Surin. I don't have Tempest Surin. I want Tempest Surin one of these days. We'll see. But before her swift movement, damage suffered in one attack does not exceed 51% of max health. Increases combat readiness of the caster by up to 30%. When the caster's health is 70% or less. When an enemy's turn ends, or when the caster's health is 70% or less when a turn ends. Can only be activated once per turn. Okay, so this was pretty quick here. Okay, but what did they do now? Okay, so they made swift movement dispel all debuffs from the caster and grant stealth for 1 turn before increasing combat readiness of the caster by 20 to 30%. Okay, so they made it a better base. It still maxes out at 30%. They reduced the overall combat readiness as you skilled it up. But that is pretty amazing that they made it so that it dispels all debuffs from the caster and gives them stealth for 1 turn if they are below 70% health. That's pretty solid, actually. Now they did change Moonlight Shadow as well. So this attacks all enemies with an up to 85% chance to make them unable to be buffed for 2 turns and inflicts silence. Damage dealt is increased proportional to the amount of the caster's lost health, and you can get this on a 3-turn cooldown. So that's pretty good. They added the inflict silence on there, and they lowered the cooldown by 1. Combined with the S2, or the S2 changes, I think that's pretty solid. So Tempest Surin's passive skill Swift Movement can effectively shut down high damage attacks, but she's still vulnerable to debuff effects. Additionally, the problem that her skills do not exert a great amount of influence in an actual battle, which made her less active. With this adjustment, her passive skill Swift Movement, when activated, will now remove all debuffs placed onto the caster, as well as grant her stealth, which will grant her greater flexibility in battles, allowing her to have more influence. This will change Tempest Surin. With this change, Tempest Surin will be able to play a more active role in battles and can be fully utilized without needing to rely on her allies for support. While her skill enhanced buffs have been decreased, the base increase in combat readiness has been increased from 15 to 20%. That's pretty solid. Additionally, silence debuff was added to her Moonlight Shadow, making this attack more threatening to enemies than before. So I definitely like that. If only I had a Tempest Surin. Now this is what I'm actually really interested in right here, is the Crescent Moon Rin change, and I've seen her popping up here and there in high combat or high champ legend RTA. So before Eyecatcher attacks the enemy with a lavish dance, stealing 2 buffs and granting their effect to all allies. Very good at countering DN comps, right? Because you can just steal all of DN's buffs. But now attacks the enemy with a lavish dance, inflicting stun for 1 turn before stealing 2 buffs and granting their effect to all allies. If the enemy is not buffed, the cooldown for this skill is reduced by 1 turn. So you can either stun and steal her buffs, or you can opt to just stun somebody and the cooldown is reduced by 1 turn, meaning that you're going to be able to utilize either buff steal or stuns. And I think that this is actually really awesome. Crescent Moon Rin was designed to be a tech hero who could provide her allies with immunity and aid them by granting them buffs stolen from the enemy. However, in the arena where the use of team buffs plays a major role, just dispelling buffs from a target wasn't enough. Despite having a unique ability, it lacked practical use due to having too many limitations. With the addition of stun being added to Eye Catcher along with the conditional cooldown reduction, we expect Crescent Moon Rin will be more effective in keeping her enemies in check. This previous skill effect had a problem where if there were no buffs to steal, the skill was not helpful, but now she can play a more active role in battle with this skill, stunning enemies even if there are no buffs to be stolen. So you're going to want to be running Crescent Moon Rin at very fast and high effectiveness so that you can steal those buffs. If you're trying to steal buffs and stun supports, good luck. Obviously the supports are going to have high effect resist, so you're going to want to be putting some of that high speed, high effectiveness gear onto Crescent Moon Rin. I definitely actually think that I will be building her out a little bit to play test her with these changes. So SS Katie's now dispels all debuffs from both the caster and the target, and heals both. So that's actually pretty good. They just added that to Sparkling Star. So SS Acades as a Soul Weaver can provide strong single ally support through the use of Resurrection Magic for immortality and Sparkling Star for recovery. However, aside from these two skill abilities to help an ally survive in battle, her auxiliary effect paled in comparison to other Soul Weavers who are more capable at helping their entire team. So Sparkling Star, which is a key skill for Shooting Star Acades, is now able to remove debuffs inflicted on herself and the target, improving viability against enemies who can inflict various debuffs. So that's actually pretty solid. I still don't think that she's going to be used over other Soul Weavers unless it's in the niche of, hey, we need to put immortality on somebody, right? Yeah. All right, so AI improvements, and these are pretty big, mostly for arena defense, Guild Wars defense. This isn't going to make much of a difference in RTA or on offense, but I do like these for arena defense, right? And think of it that way. So if you're going to put Specimen Says on your team, now he will target targets that do not have invincibility buff. Nothing worse than watching your character, or knowing that your character is going to int into somebody that is using invincibility with Lightstorm. Crow, same deal. So this is also something you're going to have to remember when you are playing against the enemy, right? So let's say you have a Crow, right? You put invincibility up on your entire team. Potentially he's not going to use his horse until your invincibility buff wears off, right? I don't know if that's still the case, but we'll find out. But you can't just go, oh, I'm going to put invincibility on my fire unit. Crow's going to int into this thing because elemental disadvantage, right? So that'll be pretty interesting. Assassin Sid change is something I'm absolutely ecstatic for. And this is because he's going to target the highest combat readiness unit, right? So that means Basar. He's going to target Basar. Before, you could easily get around like an Assassin Sid, Fighter Maya, stuff like that, because you would just bait them with, you'd just bait Assassin Sid or Assassin Kali with a Fighter Maya. And then you just let your Basar or whoever do all their business. So this is actually pretty good right here, actually. So, although they did take out targets elemental disadvantage, low health percentage, just put in whoever has the highest combat readiness gauge. So I guess now you could potentially bait him and Wanderer Silk with that. I doubt it, but yeah. So this is going to be really good for Assassin Sids on defense, for countering Oxlots and Basar, because a lot of times, especially on offense, you are not running your Oxlots with immunity or your Basar with immunity, so you're going to get hit, you're going to get pushed back, you're going to get silenced unless you can outspeed him, which he is a Zoomy boy, so good luck. I can actually see a lot more Assassin Sids on arena defense in this situation to prevent anti-cleave. Same with Athletica. You're just going to get popped and dropped. But I mean, you didn't really take her against Assassin Sid in the first place, usually, I would hope. So Pavel is going to use Storm Bullet and then Destructive Pursuit in terms of turn order, which is good. Destina is only going to use Destina's Grace when an ally is at 60% or below, or when an ally has been inflicted with a debuff. Okay, Acades, same deal. So says when a target is going to change it, when a target is 30% or less, there's an 80% chance for Conviction to be used. Now, if they're 50% less, it's 100%. Not that you're going to see too much in the way of says units, right? So with Celeste, not that too many people use Celeste on defense or anything like that either, but when the caster's health is 80% or less, she's going to use Defcon in order to get herself back up, take that extra turn so that she doesn't have a problem keeping her S2 in rotation. Batiste, interesting changes. I didn't really think that Batiste was a huge AI change target here, but they added in into the thing here that he's going to hit targets with decreased attack buff. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because he needs to hit people with defense or with a decreased attack to trigger his stuff. So definitely going to be using he's going to be hitting those targets. Not that you're, like I said, you don't use Batista too much, right? Fighter Maya is going to 100% finishing attack anybody who has 30% or less health. Good. Okay, exclusive equipment option change here. With the adjustments that were mentioned above, 2 heroes, Destina and a little bit, will have the ability to change the option for their exclusive equipment. Heirs who had used exclusive equipment for these heroes before will be able to select the option they want to have. This feature will be applied to the 6.11 update. The players will be able to change their option for up to 2 weeks. So if you had one of these, you can change it to literally whatever the other thing is that you want. So that's pretty good. Especially if you have one. I don't know too many people who were using those, but if you did, you can change it. So there you go. Overall, I think that they were pretty okay. A lot of people are going to say that it's not enough. Let me find somebody down here. That's great and all, but how about ML ball buff? Really, dude? Like, they had to nerf him because he was so bad. He's actually pretty good. I've ran into a couple, and yeah. Not entirely sure why Destina got a buff, but otherwise these are good choice because nobody really used Destina very often. I do like this ML Tywin meme right here. My job here is done. Glad that they are taking that away. And no haste. Very, very sad. They're never gonna fix. They're never going to fix haste. I'm pretty sure. Okay, anyways, guys, I could go through stove comments all day and dish on these people, but there you go. I'm gonna get back to farming AP. I think that these changes are good. I think that people are still going to not realize the potential of ambitious Tywin, and I'm gonna build ML Rin. I think that she's good. I have seen her a little bit creeping up here and there. I think that this is gonna be a really good change. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. I hope you're having a good Friday. Get ready for weekend buffs and hunt farming. And as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, think about it. Just, mull over it, because I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you hitting the bell notification if you are subscribed and sharing this out and all of that jazz. And I will catch you guys later. Have a great Friday, great weekend. Take it easy, homies. Peace.
Naki.